We are here to discuss about the spasticity in cerebral palsy children. Cerebral palsy is the most common cause of spasticity and physical disability in children, and spasticity is one of the commonest problems in those with neurological diseases. The management of spasticity in children with cerebral palsy requires a multidisciplinary effort and should be started as soon as possible. Definition of cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is defined as a clinical syndrome characterized by a persistent disorder of posture or movement due to a non-progressive disorder of the immature brain. The prevalence of cerebral palsy is 2 to 2.5 per thousand lives. Births and its incidence may be increasing secondary to improved care in neonatal intensive care units and improved survival of the low birth weight infants. Spasticity is defined as a velocity-dependent increased resistance to passive muscle stretch, or alternatively as inappropriate involuntary muscle activity associated with oculomotor neuron paralysis. Spasticity can result in functional problems with daily living activities such as gait, feeding, washing, toileting, and dressing. Over time, spasticity may also cause problems such as muscle pain or spasm, trouble in movements, difficulty with transfers, poor sitting position, impaired ability to stand and walk. Spasticity in children can result from any diseases processes that affect the oculomotor neuron within the central nervous system. Injury to the oculomotor neuron decreases the cortical input to the descending reticulospinal and corticospinal tracts, which causes weakness, loss of motor control, and reduction of number of voluntarily active motor units. Spasticity in cerebral palsy. Altered muscle tone is one of the easiest signs of the cerebral palsy. The nature of the movement disorder in spastic CP is a combination of hypertonus, impaired postural control, and equilibrium reactions. Persistent primitive reflexes, upper extremity flexor, and lower extremity extensor synergies, and associated weakness. Most children with cerebral palsy will have spasticity as the main motor disorder, and it can be classified either according to which body part or body area is affected, like hemiplegia, diplegia, tetraplegia, or the movement disorders type spastic, athetoid, ataxic, and hypotonic cerebral palsy. In spastic cerebral palsy, the lesion is found in cortex area. In dyskinetic, basal ganglia is affected. Hypotonic or ataxic, the cerebellum is affected, and in mixed category, the lesion is diffused. In case of hemiplegia, the upper and lower extremity of one side of the body is affected. Diplegia, the four body extremities are affected. Legs are more affected than arms. Quadriplegia affects the four extremity plus trunk, face, and neck region. Triplegia affects both the lower extremity and one upper extremity. Monoplegia, which is rare, affects only one extremity. Double hemiplegia, which affects four extremity arms, are affected than the legs. Direct or indirect consequences of spasticity. Increased tone, decreased range of motion, involuntary movements, increased autonomic reflexes, exaggerated reflexes, muscle weakness, balance problem, abnormal bone stretch, contraction, pain, sleep dysfunctions, patient care, bowel and bladder dysfunction, respiratory dysfunction are listed. Spasticity can affect speech, swallowing, impaired socially, psychologically, and vocationally. Pathophysiology of spasticity: exaggerated segmental reflexes. Exact mechanism is uncertain. The pathological basis of spasticity is the abnormal enhancement of spinal stretch reflexes. They could be enhanced by increased muscle spindle activity or increased excitability of central synapse involved in the reflex arc. Exaggerated suprasegmental reflexes. Lesion at the level of brainstem or above, then suprasegmental reflexes through the spinal cord and brainstem become hyperactive, like tonic neck and vestibular reflexes. Abnormal voluntary control. Imbalance in agnostic voluntary control. Release reflex phenomenon, hyperactive excitatory neural firings. Decorticate and decerebrate rigidity. Decorticate rigidity, upper limb fixed and lower limb extends. Lesion above superior colliculus leads to decorticate rigidity. Decerebrate rigidity, full extension of upper and lower limbs. Lesion below superior colliculus may lead to decerebrate rigidity. Clinical evolution of spasticity. Spasm frequency scale. How many spasms in last 24 hours in the affected extremity, and the score are given below. Abductor tone rating is another scale for the assessment, and the score are given below, like 0 is for no increase in muscle tone, 1 is for increased tone, hips easily adducted 45 degrees by 1%, and 2 hips adducted 45 degrees by 1% with mild effort. 3. Hips abducted 45 degree by 1% with moderate effort, and 4 gives high effort. Gait analysis is another tool which is based on time, 10-meter walking during which steps are counted and has been shown to be used. Parameters are step length and convenience can be measured by video recording and photography. Other assessment tools include Rome tests, ENG studies, tendon reflexes, and Babinski signs. Management of spasticity is a major challenge to team. Various forms of therapy are available to people living with cerebral palsy as well as caregiver and parents caring for someone with this disability. They can be useful at all stages of this disability and are vital in CP person's ability to function and live more effectively. Oral medication are systemic rather than focal treatment for spasticity in children with cerebral palsy. Oral medication commonly used in children are Blacofen, Diazepam, Clonazepam, and others. Botulinum toxin injection is now an established first-line treatment for focal spasticity. Botulinum toxin type A produces dose related to weakness of skeletal muscle by impairing the release of acetylcholine at the neuromuscular junction. Partially interrupts muscles contraction, making the muscle temporarily weaker. Muscles commonly treated by BT includes gastrocnemius soleus complex, hamstrings, hips, adductors and flexor synergy muscles of upper extremity. Intramuscular injection can be localized by surface landmarks, electroglottograph stimulation and or ultrasounds. Intrathecal baclofen was approved for the treatment of spasticity of cerebral origin in 1996. ITB is surgically implanted system used to control spasticity by infusing baclofen directly into the spinal canal and around the spinal cord. Baclofen inhibits spasticity by blocking excitatory neurotransmitter in the spinal dorsal horn. ITB maximizes the dose delivered to the spinal receptor and minimizes the side effect associated with oral baclofen. Selective dorsal rhizotomy. SDR derives from the late 19th century produces for spasticity. SDR is a neurosurgical procedure that involves partial sensory differentiation at the level of L1 through S2 nerve root plates. After a series of tone management with rehabilitation punctured with botulinum toxin injection, the child would probably be around 4 to 5 years old and SDR can be considered. Occupational therapy and physical therapy are fundamental part of spasticity management. Muscle overactivity produces muscle shortening and muscle shortening increases spindle sensitivity. Muscle contracture and stretch sensitivity, muscle overactivity and are entwined. Therefore, rehabilitation and physical treatments aimed at lengthening and overactivity muscle are fundamental, addressing both shortening and overactivity. Biofeedback. The effectiveness of EMG biofeedback machines is the treatment of increased muscle tone is yet unproven. Biofeedback using either EMG or joint position sensor and providing auditory or visual feedback has reduced spasticity in patients with preservation of voluntary motor control. It can provide the patient with usual feedback between therapy sessions. Vestibular stimulation. All static positions and or movement patterns facilitate the vestibular system, which in turn has effects over muscle tones. Various researchers proves vestibular stimulation as a therapeutic modality in managing abnormality of muscle tone. Vestibular stimulation has more impact on the development of cerebral palsy or mentally retarded children more than normal at risk factor premature infants. Other management techniques includes hydrotherapy, hippo riding therapy, dynamic splinting, handling techniques and chirotherapy. This is all about the topic. Stay at home, stay safe. Thank you.